Hello, and welcome to another episode of Joshua Coleman Makes. This time, we're talking about the Apple II, again. But specifically, we're going to be taking a look at the Mountain Hardware Apple ClockCard from 1978. The Apple II was an awesome fundamental system, but like many systems of that era, it lacked a real-time clock device. There was no way of date-stamping files or even checking the time on a system unless one set it upon every boot up. Turning off the system would erase any time data stored. This card was a solution to that problem, and it is one of my prized Apple II cards, as it is era appropriate to when the Apple II was released. Back then, this card would have cost $229 US, or a quarter of the price of the most modestly priced Apple II. Today we need to change the backup battery on the card and reset the time. It takes a battery anywhere from 7 to 10 volts, so naturally, given this and the wire termination it comes with, we are choosing a 9-volt battery. Originally, it came with a rechargeable NiCad battery, but that has long since died. I've been using the standard alkaline battery for a while, but it has recently died after 2 years of use, and it doesn't store the time when the power has gone out. I'm going to be upgrading these batteries very soon to ion lithium rechargeable 9-volt batteries, and they're on the way. This battery helps the clock store the time if the power goes out. And here where I live in Mexico, power failures happen often. Thus, I find this to be necessary maintenance. Let's get started. The manual greets us with this friendly message: welcome to the world of real time. This added capacity was a pretty big deal back in the day. The table of contents neatly directs us to page 5 so that we may learn how to set the time. There are 2 important things to know prior to setting the time with this card, and that is the orientation of the dip switch block switches and whether or not you are setting the time in a leap year. Clearly, as this card does math to work out the date and time, it is important for it to know whether or not it is a leap year so that it can know whether to skip days or add them. After determining whether or not it's a leap year, we must set the dip switches located here. Next, we'll need some software from the trusty floppy disk holder. Here's a teaser of a future video on the channel about the KoalaPad graphics tablet. And here is the utility disk that goes with this card. We'll put the disk in the drive. And we'll initialize the floppy disk so that it can read the floppy. Here we see it's reading. And here is the utility interface menu. Setting the time is as simple as setting dip switch 1 into the right position and assuring that the not a leap year switch is on as well. Next, we simply input the date and time parameters as listed, and exactly when the clock strikes the time you entered, you press return and the clock is set. We return the right dip switch back to the read-only position so that we don't overwrite the correct time. Next, we need to practically test whether this all worked out. I have a terminal program I use to access Telnet and other serial interfaces via my Super Serial card. This program knows that there is a clock card in slot 2, and it will constantly poll that card for the current time, displaying it on the upper right-hand corner. Here we see the time is in fact 5:20 p.m., and thus we are displaying real time. This has been a success.